Inside the stories that affect you. This is Inside KELOLAND.
I'm Angela Kennecke. Thanks for joining us. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is tomorrow. So in this week's Inside KELOLAND, we're looking back at the legacy the civil rights leader leaves behind and how people right here in South Dakota are honoring him, including a new statue that will be unveiled tomorrow honoring King's visit to Sioux Falls back in 1961. Many people also use this day as a day of service to their community. We'll show you how you can help out local charities over the next half hour. Last week, crews started to put together the finished product of the Martin Luther King statue in Sioux Falls. Our cameras were there as the sculptors poured and bronzed the statue ahead of tomorrow's dedication. The sculpture will be placed in Van Epps Park near the location where Dr. King stayed while visiting Sioux Falls in 1961. The dedication ceremony is set for 1 p.m. Monday. And joining us now is the sculptor of the statue, Porter Williams. Thank you so much for being with us today. Yes. And you've been around in the Sioux Falls area working on your art for a long time. How many years have you been here, Porter?
Going on 64 years.
64 years. And things have changed a lot over the last 64 years.
Oh, yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, how long, let's first of all, I want to know how long you worked on the statue, but how did you come up with the idea?
Well, it's a sculpture instead of statue.
I'm sorry, the sculpture.
Okay. I would say off and on for a year I worked on it. And I can recall a year ago that with meeting Tin Haken down at a church, the mayor, and I was working on it at this church. And I told him, I mentioned to him that I'd like to do a life-size sculpture of him and put him in a park.
So you're working on a smaller?
Right, a model that's probably 22 inches tall.
Why did you decide to do that in the first place?
Well, I'm really into African-American history.
Started the museum here?
Right. I started off with the first black man to ever come to South Dakota, York. He came with the Lewis and Clark expedition. He was William Clark's slave. And so I did a sculpture of him and 2 or 3 different sculptures of him. And then I got into more history, more hidden history in South Dakota. And that was with Sarah Campbell and different people that are from South Dakota.
And so that led to you wanting to do a model of Martin Luther King.
I've always admired Martin Luther King because I was really, his principle, his way of thinking and the way of doing things was opposite of mine.
Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, when I moved to Sioux Falls, there was a lot of Jim Crow right here in Sioux Falls. There was, you know.
And you're talking about racism when you say that.
Right. There was places that we couldn't eat at. We couldn't stay in hotels.
It's hard for me to imagine.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, that was, you know, we're talking 60 years ago, you know, and there was a lot of racism in the country.
And were you angry?
I was past angry. You know? I mean, it was, yeah, I was angry. I was an angry individual. Until I'll tell you something, and this is the truth. I was really fighting this anger within myself until I started sculpting.
Wow.
And once I started sculpting, because a lot of people right to this day can't believe that I can settle down because I'm so hyper and actually do a sculpture. It's, but it's, I don't know, it kind of, you know, it takes over.
And so you started to adopt some of Martin Luther King's principles.
That's right.
Which is nonviolence, love, understanding, right?
Right.
And so you're paying tribute to him through this sculpture. And tell me how you got the mayor convinced to put this in the park.
Well, the mayor looked at it, and I had a pamphlet of when he was actually here, and and it was the front page of the Argus Leader, and he was shaking hands with a black minister of St. John's Baptist Church, where he stayed at the parsonage overnight. And I was always looking at that picture with him shaking the hand of Reverend Artie Hayes. And I was thinking, boy, that'd make a nice sculpture. But how can I pull it off? Because, you know, usually when you take a picture of somebody, you only get one side of it. So now I got to put together the coat, the shoes, how tall was he, and all this. You know.
But the mayor was for the idea.
He says, let's make it happen.
That's wonderful. And I know when the Martin Luther King statue was unveiled in Washington, D.C., that was a really emotional moment for many, many people to finally have that representation at the Capitol. Do you expect that same kind of emotion to be felt when this is unveiled here in Sioux Falls?
To be honest with you, no.
Why not?
I don't know. Sioux Falls is, you know, when it comes down to, I don't know how to put it. You know, they've never, accepted Martin Luther King Day. You know, South Dakota was not the last state, but it was next to the last state to honor Martin Luther King in the first place. And so that's still kind of with us, you know.
Well, maybe things are changing. The population has grown. I know when I first came into town a few decades ago, I did a story at the time and researched the census number, and there were 700 Black people living in Sioux Falls. Now there are more than 10,000. Just by having more people here and more exposure, maybe there's more understanding.
Well, the majority of the Black people that you're counting today are immigrant Africans, and they really are not into Martin Luther King. They're not really into all the fight that we had to go through. You know, that they know that they come here and they think...
It's a different culture.
Right, altogether.
Right. Well, thank you so much for doing this statue and for getting it to go in the park. We can't wait to see it.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Well, during Dr. King's visit to Sioux Falls, he also stopped by the KELOLAND studios in 1961.
It's certainly a real pleasure to be in this section of the country. It's my first time here.
Former KELOLAND reporter Doug Hill sat down with the civil rights leader for a one-on-one interview. When Dr. King spoke in Sioux Falls, it was the height of the fight against discrimination and segregation in the South. Still to come on Inside KELOLAND, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is also a national day of service. How you can help the banquet and the St. Francis House. Straight ahead. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. Tomorrow is a National Day of Service, a time to give back to your community to honor Martin Luther King Jr. Joining me now is Tamra Lee, Executive Director for the Banquet in Sioux Falls. Thank you for joining us so much.
Thanks for having me.
Now, the holidays are over. We think a lot about giving and helping out charities over the holidays, but the need continues. And I think it maybe even grows during this cold weather.
Absolutely. You know, the banquet doesn't go on holiday. And so we need those volunteer help. We need that commitment 365 days a year. And you're right. When the colder weather temps hit, our guests tend to need us even more.
And you're also having an event coming up, some support coming your way.
Yes, we are going to be the recipients of a feminine hygiene drive that will be happening on Monday. And so we're very excited about that. This has been going on for several years now, and I cannot tell you what it means to our female guests.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I think that's something that when you have people who are in need, just a basic needs, shelter, food, feminine hygiene is a basic need. People forget about it, don't you think?
Absolutely. We take it for granted. It's something that we throw into our grocery cart and we don't even think about it. But those products are expensive. And for many of the women that eat with us, that is something that they struggle to find. And many of them are oftentimes embarrassed to have to ask for those items. I can't imagine having to ask for a pad or a tampon.
Sure, we need to take the shame out of that. Exactly. That's just a biological thing for every woman.
Right, exactly. But so when they are able to get those things that we need, it just really helps them out so much.
So what are you asking people to do?
We're asking them to bring pads, tampons. You can bring them to the Prairie Berry Brewery. There's a couple other places in town that you can bring them to. You can bring them to the banquet if you'd like. But we're just asking for people to take time to think about that tomorrow.
Right, and it doesn't take much if you're already at the grocery store or at Walmart or Target or someplace like that, just to pick up a box of whatever, throw it in your cart, and then just drop it off.
Right, because it's a small gesture on our part, but for that woman who's receiving that product, It's a big deal.
Much needed.
Yes.
A necessity. Let's talk about the Banquet West, because we've been talking about it for a while now.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
when is that going to be happening?
We are getting very, very close. We're at the end stages of construction. And so we're getting our equipment in there now, getting all that construction cleaning done. And so we're looking at, we're hoping for an early March startup date.
Now let's talk, it looks like a beautiful building.
It's a beautiful building.
How many years has it taken to get to this point?
You know, Banquet's West Side location has been on our radar since, if you can believe it, 2012. And when
almost a
long
decade.
time. In 2014, we started serving out at the fairgrounds, trying to meet that need just 2 nights a week. But this permanent location for that West Side, it's been our dream for a long time.
And how did you raise the money to build it?
Through the goodness of the people in our community. We did a capital campaign, a very quick capital campaign, and we raised the money.
How much did you raise?
We raised $1.9 million.
Wow.
So, and we were so very grateful for that. And so with that, those funds, we were able to make this it's a modest building, but to us, it's a very beautiful building. And we have so many people that live in that Northwest community that are so excited about being able to utilize that.
Are there certain things you'll be able to do there that you can't do in your current facility?
Well,
when you designed it, I'm sure you...
With the design, we kept it very similar to the downtown location, so that volunteers, when they came, if they've served downtown, they're going to walk into a kitchen that's basically the same as the kitchen they walk in downtown. So, you know, the design, the layout is the same, but with regard to what we've been doing at the fairgrounds we've been catering
Is that still
meals.
a couple of times a week?
Yes.
2 times.
And so we've been having to cater food out there, bring food, set up dining rooms, set up serving lines. We won't have to do that anymore. So it's going to be so much easier for the volunteers that are coming to be able to just walk into this building, prepare a meal, serve the meal, and share the meal with their guests.
And we don't want to make it sound like you're closing the downtown location, because that will continue to function, and the West will be in addition to that, which it's kind of sad that the need is so great that we need 2 facilities for people who are hungry. But thank goodness that you're making that happen, because the need continues to grow, correct?
The need is in Northwest Sioux Falls, and we're just so happy that through the community support, we're able to do that.
Are you worried about getting enough volunteers for both facilities? Because I know you're always counting on volunteers to come in and help with the meals.
That is something that has weighed heavily on our hearts, and we have done a lot of planning for that. But yes, we are asking for volunteers to, one, come out and check out this new location and be part of this. And yes, we would love people, if you come once a year, think about maybe coming twice a year, you know, and we have so many different opportunities if you want to contact us.
How many days a week will we be having meals out there?
5 days a week. So we will add 3 more meals to our serving schedule every week. Oh, so that's
ambitious.
Yeah, that's 3 more volunteer groups every single week that we need to bring in to make this happen.
Okay, well, I can't wait till March. Do you have an exact date, or no?
I do not have an exact date just yet.
All right. Well, congratulations on all the work that you've been doing. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, coming up after the break, it's been about a month since the St. Francis House moved into its new location, when you can get a tour of the new house when Inside KELOLAND returns. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. It has been a month since the St. Francis House and its guests moved into a brand new facility. Joining us now is Julie Becker, the Executive Director for the St. Francis House. Thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
A month ago, we reported that you were moving into your new facility, and it's a nice, big new facility.
Yes,
How's it going?
You know, it's really amazing, the number of people who are coming in and still continue to bring us donations for our guests.
Really? That's fantastic.
They're coming through, and it's amazing, because it's the things that they don't think we need, but we really do need. So, for example, I put on our Wishful Wednesday, we needed bookcases, because now we have more room that we can put more books out for our guests to read. And then, lo and behold, I turn around, and then there's 3 brand new bookshelves that got donated, not even used. And then we had a couple this week bring us 2 more. And it's just such a blessing.
So you just put it out there and ask, and this community, I have to say, is amazing, and they respond.
Yes, they do. I had a gentleman that needed a 5XL coat, and I had a donor go out and went out and purchased it, because with this cold weather that we're in right now,
it's bitterly
he didn't
cold.
have anything. And so it was just, it's amazing. There's no words.
So I've seen the new facility on camera. I've
Yes.
seen video of it. I've not toured it yet.
Yes.
You've got some tours you've already held and
Right.
some. I've been in the old one, so I, I know you've done
Night
better.
and day difference there.
Well, maybe let's start off talking about that. What is the difference between this new facility and the old facility?
Well, just our new dining room is the space of the entire old building. Just our dining room.
Wow.
So that doesn't include that we're all in the same our offices are all in the same building. We have
There's the dining
lounges.
room, right?
Yep, that's
Right
the
there,
dining
yeah.
room. That was the length of the whole old building.
Wow.
The bedrooms are so nice for the guests. They have privacy. They can sleep better. This is a lounge for them to be able to kind of just hang out and socialize and be close to their case manager if they have any questions. So one of the guests said on Christmas, he said, it's pretty teary-eyed. He said it was the best Christmas that he's ever had in his life.
Oh my goodness.
1, that he was housed, 2, that he was sober, and 3, that he got to be in such a nice place. So for every gift, that's why we're having our Gift of Hope tours, because it truly is a gift. These are all gifts that we got, small ones, medium ones, large ones, gift in kind, donation of office furniture that we got from Junior Achievement. You know, it all made a difference.
You know, that must be so rewarding to you to hear that man say that after so much work, because so much
Yes.
work goes into
It
raising
does.
the funds and then making this happen, making
did.
this idea a reality.
Right.
So tell us about the tours or Gifts of Hope.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Well, we used to do the Slice of Hope. That's when we were raising the funds to build the building. And now we wanted to celebrate that this is a gift of hope. This is something that the community came together of all different walks of life, all different congregations to give to one cause to move people from homelessness to hope and give them that hand up. And so we want to celebrate that. We're having cupcakes, and we want to just celebrate that we're having them come through and see the beautiful building that was built because of their love, their prayers, and their generosity.
So if people want to take part in that, what do they need to do?
Well, they can just contact us. We have dates that are listed here, and these are just the ones that we have right now that will be happening in this kind of coldish weather. Come spring, we'll probably have more. Not only on Tuesdays, we'll probably add some evening ones.
Is that exactly what the cupcakes are going to look like, Julie?
Well, they are pretty special because, you know, Oh My Cupcakes is pretty good to us.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And
Well,
so we're pretty fortunate. So, yes, there will be wonderful cupcakes, and it's all about celebrating.
you have several opportunities to go, and of course we will have this information on our website as well.
And it's on our social media as well.
So now that you've moved into a new facility, have some new needs popped up? Are they the same needs you've always had? I mean, what are you thinking about now, or
Well,
looking to the future?
We are always blessed with anything that we receive, so we want people to know that. The exciting news is that at the end of this month, it'll be bittersweet. The old building will be coming down. And we'll begin doing construction on our last phase. So as we continue that building, there are going to probably be some additional things that we'll be needing, so we'll be putting postings out there. But right now, we're still taking coats. Even though the Keep KELOLAND Warm is done, we're still taking coats because many of our guests are coming and they just have light jackets.
And I bet mittens and scarves and hats,
scarves,
gloves,
boots,
whatever.
all of those things we will take, and those
Winter
all
wear.
get given to our guests.
How long is the average stay at the St. Francis House?
Well, if we can get them through that first 60 days, then the average stays is sometimes about 9 months. We have a couple people that will stay all the way to a year because they're really trying to save as much money as they can, pay off their debt, and find affordable housing.
And you work with a lot of people who are going through drug court, and
Yes,
now we're
lot
going to
of
have a mental
addiction.
health court too. And
Right.
So
Right. That's the nice part with our new building is that we are bringing services in. So starting in March, we have a wonderful lady who is going to be coming in and teaching employability classes to our guests. Not just about getting a job, but how do you keep a job? How do you work with an employer? If you have a difficult situation, you just don't storm out. How do you handle that? And we want to work with our other agencies of coming and providing services here at the St. Francis House now that we have a captive audience of...
and room
right
to
now-
do it.
Yes, finally.
That's
room to do it.
wonderful.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you as always.
Coming up after the break.
The one thing that really stuck out about him was a smile on his face. And, you know, you just, you don't forget that smile.
How about KELOLAND family is keeping their son's memory alive by making sure this tragedy on the farm doesn't happen again. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. Agriculture is South Dakota's leading industry. However, it's also where the unexpected can happen. In 2017, the Bouma family lost their 7-year-old son, Jackson, in a farming accident. KELOLAND's Sarah McDonald explains how the little boy's family and friends are working to keep Jackson's smile alive in many different ways.
Jackson Bouma's family remembers him as someone who always had a smile on his face and loved to have fun.
He was a happy-go-lucky kid, you know, always had a smile on his face. In our family, he always have, you know, one in every crowd that's kind of a jokester, and he was that. He never took things too serious, just a lot of fun.
As the youngest of 4, Jackson enjoyed being outdoors, including hunting and spending time at his grandparents' farms.
He loved going to the farm. He loved spending time, you know, would go to the farm quite a bit.
But in April of 2017, just before Easter, Jackson was tragically killed in a farming accident. It was a day this family will never forget.
There's days you cry a lot, and but the one thing that I've learned from them in going through this is it's our faith in God, knowing that, you know, we will see Jackson again someday.
Since then, the Bouma family and friends have been working to keep Jackson's smile alive.
The one thing that really stuck out about him was a smile on his face, and you know, you just you don't forget that smile.
That's where the JLB Mission 23 committee comes in. The little boy's family and friends have set up a Jackson Bouma Memorial Fund. Amanda Adamson is one of the members.
We have tried to be that support group for Sarah and Troy, Bouma and family, and we've vowed to keep Jackson's smile alive through that memorial. So we've done memorial events specifically to raise funds for the memorial itself and all of the different things that it has contributed to.
The Jackson Bouma Memorial Fund also serves as a nonprofit. It helps improve the community.
The first year we had our celebration was at the park to give money back to the park. We finished the basketball court, put a basketball hoop up there, you know, put 3 spinners in, a water fountain, so really to give back to the park.
It also helps provide an annual scholarship to Yankton High School seniors and also promotes farm safety.
We've helped promote and donated T-shirts to the local 4-H. They do a good job of putting a camp on this summer, and then you know, utilize the funds to put together a farm safety book.
The book, created by family members, is called Staying Safe on the Farm with Jackson.
The farm is like a big playground to kids, and our goal for the farm safety book is to not only educate kids, but adults as well.
By keeping Jackson's smile alive, family and friends hope to help prevent other tragedies from happening.
Just by sharing our story, we hope it has some impact, and hopefully it will help others.
With Eye on KELOLAND, I'm Sarah McDonald.
You can make donations at First National Bank in Yankton to the Jackson Bouma Memorial Fund. We've put a link to the Jackson L. Bouma Keep His Smile Alive Memorial Facebook page under this story on KELOLAND.com. That is all the time we have for this week's Inside KELOLAND. You can find out more about today's topics online at KELOLAND.com. Just search for Inside KELOLAND. Remember to join us every Sunday following the 10 o'clock news right here on KELO TV. Good night.